Nora Harper sang tonight as if she was unloading her heart. She wasn't just performing. She was saying goodbye. Goodbye to the promises, the hope, the dreams she thought she knew. She wanted to feel anything other than the rejection that seemed to follow her career. Tonight was open mic at the Blue Note, the renowned club known for stories of discovery and success. This was her last night before getting a real job, as she was told. As the countless arguments and discussions with her parents echoed in her mind, she finally relented after 5 years of struggling to make anything happen. This was it, the end of her dream. After tonight, she had to be realistic, as her mother scolded. Daniel sat at the back of the Blue Note, drowning in a bottle of the most expensive whiskey. Tonight, he just wanted to be anonymous. Forget the weight of the world for at least one night. He chose the table against the wall in a quiet corner and let the music and melodies soothe his soul, just like the old days. As he listened to the music, not really paying attention to the stage, he began to drift into a world of anonymity. But he wasn't prepared for what he heard next. A young woman with warm but sad eyes stood on the stage, exchanging each note with her soul. She glowed with honey brown skin and gentle curls that framed her face as if to hide her pain. When he saw her, Daniel instantly sat up a little taller. The piano began first, lingering as if waiting for her permission. She began with a sweet voice that seemed to rearrange time. A sound so hypnotic, so immersive, but oh so melancholy. A sound that spoke to his soul like a siren calling him to the sea. A voice telling a story that felt so intimate, as if he was hearing her secrets. Daniel felt his skin shiver, not realizing that his feet were also under a spell. He lifted his body and scaled the outer walls of the room, one step after another until he reached stage right. Daniel stepped onto the stage toward the piano. He bent down to whisper to the man sitting on the bench. The man stood while still playing and relinquished the keys. Daniel took over without breaking the melody. The audience was taken aback as they realized who the special piano player was. The famous Daniel Kim, the Korean classical prodigy turned pop star. Low whispers became louder as the crowd became more attentive. Nora oblivious to it all, singing with her eyes closed. As the patrons became more enamored, Nora mistakenly thought the attention was for her. Suddenly she heard a warm, tenor voice that began to harmonize with hers. She opened her eyes and realized she was on stage with a musical genius. Nora was enamored with his dark, narrow eyes and angular jawline peeking from beneath his soft, tapered dark curls. This man was beautiful in a come-hither sort of way. Then it happened. The shrill of the piano scales and tempo changed into something majestic. Daniel began and signaled for Nora to follow. He played an unreleased composition that he could never seem to complete. He started with the pre-chorus, only piece he had finished, and repeated it until she understood the melody. A melody she had not heard, but somehow found familiar. Something woke up in Nora. She hummed the top line as Daniel integrated the first verse. Nora then followed with ad-libs. Their eyes connected and they never broke that bond. They made a great team. The room melted away, and the only thing that mattered was their song wrapped in a musical dance of love. It was an ethereal, holy experience that penetrated their soul. This was the song Daniel could not finish. This was the song that Nora needed. This song was the blues laid bare for both Nora and Daniel. By the time they finished, the room exploded with praise. The cheers from the crowd brought them back to reality. From that day forward, Nora and Daniel were inseparable. And that is how I met your mother. Daniel ended his story. Oh, Daddy, you were so cool. Little 8-year-old Zara squealed. Mara, with all the wisdom of her 10 years has garnered, said, Daddy, do you miss singing with Mommy? After that night, Daniel and Nora formed a duet and went on to travel the world and make beautiful music together. But when they decided to start a family, both transitioned to working behind the scenes. Nora with a successful voice acting career and Daniel with music production and composition. Daniel hadn't expected the seriousness of his daughter's tone. His eyes glistened with nostalgia. He looked at his wife in the kitchen preparing dinner. Sometimes I miss it, but what I have now is more rewarding than being on stage. Mara tilted her head and contemplated the word rewarding. She smiled and said, rewarding, like having us, Daddy? Daniel beamed with pride. Yes, sweetheart, having all three of my girls is so much more rewarding. Mara looked at her mom in the kitchen, humming while filling the house with delicious smells. She looked back to her daddy, playfully singing tunes with little Zara. She let out a small sigh as if resigned to her fate. Daddy, is it okay if I want to be a singer instead of a wife? Daniel looked at Mara, then he noticed Nora's surprised expression as well. He looked back down at his youngest daughter Zara, sitting on the floor still humming and coloring in her favorite book. Nora turned and approached her family from the kitchen. She crossed the floor to sit next to Mara on the couch. Nora asked, Mara, do you truly want to sing on stage someday? Mara stared at her fingers and nodded. Her expression had sparks of betrayal. Nora continued, do you like singing with Daddy and making beats and melodies? Mara looked at her daddy with admiration. I love it, Mama. And Mara, do you like our family? Something flashed in Mara as if she didn't know how to respond without betraying her emotions. I do, but... Nora waited. Daniel waited. The room waited. Then little Zara blurted out, oh, just say it, Mara. But Zara continued as if she knew Mara didn't have the courage. She thinks Daddy misses the road and sometimes wishes he could go back. Zara let the words slam on the proverbial table like a relief that's been hovering in the air too long. Daniel, startled by the realization, closed his laptop he had been working on. He finally asked, Mara, why do you think I want to go back on the road? Because I heard you talking to Uncle Win about the good old days. Daniel finally understood. Uncle Win was his old bandmaster. He was in town last week and came over for dinner. They reminisced about old times and shared funny stories with the girls. Daniel reached for Mara and pulled her close to him. Sweetheart, Uncle Win and I were just chatting and sharing memories. But that doesn't mean that I want to go back on the road. But Daddy, you said you missed those times. Mara proclaimed. Yes, I missed some of it. But that was a long time ago, and now I have a different job, and I am happy with that. Remember when you graduated kindergarten and realized that first graders did not get nap time? Yes, Mara said. You went on for a week on how you missed kindergarten. But did you really want to go back, or did you just want nap time? Mara thought long and hard. So, Daddy, even though you miss singing, that doesn't mean you want to leave us. That's right, Mara. You're so smart. Daddy loves you, little Zara, and Mommy, and I don't want to ever leave either of you. Zara turned to her mom. And Mommy, you said that you don't sing anymore because you have me and Zara now. Nora looked at her two daughters. Come here and sit, Zara. She patted the seat next to her in between Mara. I want you two to understand something. You two are the best thing that has ever happened to me, Nora began. I love you more than anything. Mara, when you were born, I decided to stay home, and I don't regret it. But Mara and Zara, Nora looked at both of them. You don't have to choose one over the other. Mara, how would you feel if I asked you to choose between your Barbie dolls or your Easy Bake Oven? Mara was calculating. And Zara, my little artist, how would you feel if you could only pick one coloring pencil? Zara protested in her familiar animated tone. Mama, that's cruel. Exactly, Nora continued. No one should have to choose. Nora turned to Mara. Mara, you don't have to choose between singing and being a wife, okay? Yes, Mama. Good. Now you two go wash up and get ready for dinner. That night, as the Kim family sat around the dinner table enjoying a delicious fusion of Korean soul cuisine, Daniel thought to himself that it doesn't get any better than this. Later that evening, Daniel entered their bedroom after putting the girls to bed. Nora looked at Daniel and smirked. Now why are you still telling our love story? She said in air quotes. That is a total exaggeration. As I recall, the story was quite different that night. Daniel retorted. Well, that's the story I remember, and I'm sticking to it. Nora threw a pillow at his head that he caught before impact. Don't go giving our girls a false sense of romance. Daniel countered. Would you rather I tell my girls the truth? He started with a devilish smile. Would you rather I tell them that the minute I saw you on that stage, my manhood paid attention? Would you rather I tell them that the second you opened your mouth, my body tingled all over? Would you rather I tell them that I knew from the first moment I saw you I would have you in my bed? He confessed as he crossed the bedroom and closed the distance between them. When he reached Nora, he pulled her body into his. Swallowing hard, he lifted his hand to touch her lips. Daniel looked deep into her eyes, and his expression turned serious. The man I was back then had no direction. Yes, I was famous, and I had everything at my disposal, he admitted. But Nora, I was broken. When I saw you on that stage pouring out your pain, I had to come to you. There was no way I was leaving without you. Daniel held her gaze. Although, my first response to you was physical. I soon realized that I needed you in every way possible. You were exactly what I needed and longed for, and so much more. Daniel couldn't take it anymore. He kissed her with the same longing and fervor that he remembered that day. He pulled back and looked deep into Nora's eyes. Nora, I want you to know without a doubt. He paused to make sure he had her undivided attention. I love our life. I love our girls. I love being home and a constant presence for my family. Yes, I may miss the highlights of fame, but those highlights are only a flicker in time. He caressed her chin and whispered, Never doubt that I am right where I want to be. He kissed her again, and this time with a fire that made Nora's body go limp. His tongue explored her mouth. He left no room for doubt. His hands began a downward exploration of every inch along the way. He trailed kisses down her chin to her neck. Then he came up to whisper in her ear, Nora, I loved you the first day we met, and I love you even more today. His words finally undid her, and she melted into his body. She breathed into his kisses and pleaded, Take me now. Daniel growled, and his eyes went dark. He lifted her as she wrapped her legs around his torso. He laid her gently on their bed, covered her body with his. Like the intro to their song, he took his sweet time rediscovering every inch of her body as if it was new territory. Nora let out a small moan and arched into his body with a silent command. Daniel understood and gently entered her body, commencing the first verse. She gasped as he held her gaze. He moved in slow circular motions to let her adjust to him before building to the first chorus, timing the highs and lows of their synergy with her breathing. Just as they were about to reach the crescendo, Daniel slowed down the pacing, capturing the beautiful bridge of their song. Nora gently dug into his back, asking for more. Daniel lowered his lips to her left ear. Not yet, he whispered. He synchronized their breathing and movements like a beautiful harmony. When he felt she was ready, he caressed her frame, intensified the tempo, leading to the final crescendo. Nora felt a sweet release, and Daniel followed shortly after with a renewed sense of admiration. As they lay in the aftermath entangled together, Nora drew with light feather touches on Daniel's chest. Daniel, Nora started, I no one asked you to join a few legs of the tour. Daniel froze slightly. Nora turned his face so that they were eye to eye. You should do it. Daniel sat up to take a good look at her. Nora followed and continued. Listen, if we are going to tell our girls that they don't have to choose, then we should follow our own advice. I know you miss it sometimes, and it's okay. So I want you to at least consider it. Daniel looked at his wife. Are you really okay with that? She nodded, of course. I want you to be happy too, and not just sacrifice for us. Well, to be honest, one wanted us both to join the tour. What? Nora heard herself laugh. Daniel laughed, yes, really. Nora took a few seconds to let the thought sink in. Well, I put my foot in my mouth, so now we got to plan a tour. We can pull the girls from school for a little while. I gotta plan the logistics, talk to their teachers, get their assignments for the road. I think we can make it work. She covered her mouth in disbelief. They talked a little more about scheduling, work commitments, and how to surprise the girls. Do you ever think about where we would be if we hadn't met? Nora asked. If I hadn't walked on that stage, or if you hadn't come that night. All the time, Daniel responded. Daniel? Yes? I love you too. Thank you for writing our song. He pulled her chin to him and gave her a soft kiss on her lips. And thank you for being my muse. The end.
walking in circles, same streets, same doubts, ordering the usual just to tune it all out. Empty chair beside me, clock drips, slow fade. Thought I'd just grow older inside this shade.
But then the door swings open, room leans your way. My past gets quiet, like it knows what to say.
Oh, I can't look away. You're the still point in this spinning place.
Every wrong turn, every lost day was a step to find your face. I've been so lost, but now I see what I was searching for is reaching back for me. Right here, right now, finally in reach,
And I
can't look away. I used to chase timings,
hands on every clock,
brushing all my choices till the doors would lock.
Now your laugh cuts through me like a sudden key, opens up the spaces I thought were history.
Two hands on the table, brush then stay. Every fear I carry starts to fall away.
Oh, I can't look away.
You're the still point in this spinning parade.
Every wrong turn, every lost day
Was a step to find your face.
I've been so lost, but now I see what I was searching for is reaching back for me.
Right here, right now, finally in reach,
And I
can't look away.
all those nights I called it fate, all those times I showed up late. I was moving blind, but moving still toward this moment you just feel.
Every map that let me down,
Every doubt that kept me bound
turns to background, soft and faint, while you're burning in my frame.
I was lost but not mistaken. I was waiting to be taken to this second, to this gaze where the whole world falls
Right here, right now, finally in reach,
And I
I can't look away.